The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Hear the parable of the sower. The seed sown on the path is the one who hears the word of the kingdom without understanding it. And the evil one comes and steals away what was sown in his heart. The seed sown on rocky ground is the one who hears the word and receives it at once with joy. But he has no root and lasts only for a time. When some tribulation or persecution comes because of the word, he immediately falls away. The seed sown among thorns is the one who hears the word, but then worldly anxiety and the lure of riches choke the word, and it bears no fruit. But the seed sown on rich soil is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields 100 or 60 or 30-fold. The Gospel of the Lord. Our two readings today, both the first reading from Exodus, where we see the Ten Commandments, which of course we're very familiar with, and this gospel reading intersect in an interesting way. And I would say that they intersect at the point of the human person. Really, Christianity and Christ came into the world for the sake of the human person. And perhaps we can forget this sometimes, or we can focus on other things, and we can think that in a sense, it's all about God and his greatness, and it certainly is. But the greatness of God is the glory of man, as we're reminded by one of the church fathers. And so Jesus Christ came into the world for the sake of each of us, for the sake of our fullness, for the sake of our joy and peace. Jesus Christ came into the world because he loves us. And it's through this lens that we can come to understand these commandments. We can come to understand this law, which we're reminded is written on our hearts. Jesus Christ doesn't come to give us a new law, but he comes to illuminate the law that's written on our hearts. Which is to say, he comes to help us to understand that which corresponds to our hearts. The Ten Commandments, then, can be understood as something that brings us fulfillment. Living in this way, avoiding these things, doing these things, brings us fulfillment. But Jesus reminds us in our gospel that though we may hear these words, though we may in some way accept these commandments, if we don't understand our heart, if we don't understand who we are as human beings, then all of this is for nothing. Then we're like those who receive the word, but the seed is spilled on rocky soil. Or those for whom this seed is sown on the path and it doesn't get to the soil. We have to understand our hearts. We have to understand what it is that makes us. Because when we do, we can better understand what Christ came for. He came for us. He came so that we could have life. He didn't come to oppress us or to subjugate us, to show how powerful he is, but he came so that we could share in his glory. And so today, we're encouraged by our gospel to be like the one who hears the word and understands it. We're called to understand our heart, so that when Christ comes into our life and sheds light on our heart, on who we are, on this law written on our heart, we can better receive it, and we can better live it. Not as an obligation, not as some sort of a way that the Lord is trying to keep us captive, but is something that truly leads to freedom, something that leads to fulfillment, something that leads to our glory. The glory of God is man fully alive. These commandments and all that Christ came to teach us have been given to us so that we could live. Let us live our lives today, fully aware of who we are and what Christ means for our life.